So, again, my father would march us in there over some trivial BS, nothing over, so he would have an excuse to destroy us. And it seemed like it was every day. There was something every day. We tried to escape it. We tried to dodge him, but survival was the number one priority. And there was no fighting, and there was no fleeing. There was only fawning and begging for whatever mercy you could get out of this person. Now, in these situations where he took us into the sewing room, again, there was a lot of yelling and dressing up and down, like you would do a lot of shark attack stuff, right in your ear, like really scary when you're. It's scary when you're an adult, when you know what's coming at you and you try to understand that it's a head game and they're breaking you down to put you back together with some structure and discipline, getting you ready for war, which I have all the respect in the world for. I'm a patriot. I love veterans. Woo-hoo. Thank you, ma'ams and sirs. Thank you, thank you. But this man was bringing his training and his weapon. He was weaponizing it against his own biological children at home. And, you know, it was really just survival daily. So the other rules about the sewing room were when he went to strike us from behind, we had to bare our underwear or naked bottoms in front of our other siblings, and we had to grab our ankles. We had to be looking away, and we couldn't make a sound. The issue of looking, he never faced us. I've seen his eyes go black before. I know he never wanted us looking at him. There are other people who've told me they've seen his eyes go black also. I'll tell my story in another one next. But he always made us look down. My entire childhood, I grew up looking down at the ground. And that is just control, right? That is forced control I was born into. I didn't have a choice. My choice was to survive. And when I was 26 years old, God delivered me from this situation. I'm so glad He did. This original family situation was very toxic for me. I was the truth teller, and apparently the truth teller is, and the one who carries the light is hated. So now I understand. Now I understand. Now I understand why God was determined to allow me to be conceived and survive birth and then survive E. coli, all the things right there around my birth, and then also allow me to survive the torture that began the day I went home from the hospital from not just my father, but my siblings that he forced into this same controlling, dominant, misogynistic, sadistic behavior. As a scapegoat, once I realized this is dangerous for me. This is very dangerous for me. When I was 26 years old, 6 months after I got saved, God lit up. He's like, okay, it's time for you to go. 26 years old, He delivered me out of this situation and brought me to a place 6.5 hours away where He started my life over, set my feet on solid ground, and wiped me off. And I mean, started my life. It was hard. It was very, very hard with 2 young children and no job, no husband, no prospects, and student in school. But I will tell you this, God is faithful. God is faithful to, when He taps you on the shoulder and saves you, gives you the opportunity to understand salvation, and then calls you, trust Him. You'll never go wrong, even if it's hard, even when it's hard, because I can assure you it will be hard. It's not easy. The sewing room, this thing was happening every day. And I realized after, I don't know, I guess I was in my 40s when I realized He was doing this on purpose. Oops. He was doing this on purpose. He was coming up with some silly excuse to run us all in there and feed off of our fear and humiliation and tears, begging, because I know I begged Him. I begged Him. And that just seemed to cause Him to He enjoyed it. I don't say sadistic psychopath for no reason. He was running us in there every chance he could. Many times my mom would bust in and stop it to try to protect us and help us. But this is a very real thing. This is not a joke. This was happening in our house. The people that lived around us, with all the doors shut and the windows down, they could hear the screams. They could hear him yelling. They could hear my mom crying for us. But there was nothing they could do. Nothing. It was a torture to them too, because my dad was a big, bad drill sergeant, and out there he was a bully, and he really commanded his space and was respected. Other guys, they didn't, like, nobody, no one really, this was isolated, right? No one outside of these neighbors witnessed. It was all very protected. We had to protect his image and lie and pretend like everything was okay in the midst of being abused like this every chance he got. It felt like daily, but it may have been 3-4 times a week. And you know, it was the torture room. That was it. We knew what was coming. Lined us up by age. Yell, 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 yell. Destroy us. Treat us like garbage. Shark, 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 shark. Just inches off your face while you're looking down, just having to take it. And then comes the beating. And he would get us all over our back, all over the back of our legs. And with a belt. And he would miss on purpose. The aim was our rear end, right? But not always. He missed a lot, right? And different times throughout my childhood, many times, he would randomly say things like this: "You'll wear bloody stripes to school, and you'll like it." This was normal. This was my normal, regular, everyday life. This was what I had to survive. And my father was a fortress. He was like Fort Knox. He was over 6 feet tall, 6'3" maybe, and a drill sergeant. He worked his way up as a head drill sergeant out there. He was, he carried a lot of power, and no one was going to challenge him. We were not protected. And when I was in fourth grade, the people at Child Services came to the elementary school and told us all about abuse. And I remember thinking in my mind, huh, well, that sounds very familiar. And wow, that, you know, a gear went click. And they gave us these stickers to put on our notebooks. All of us had to put the sticker on our notebook, so we put it on our notebook. And I knew the moment I put that sticker on my notebook, I left it on there. But if my dad saw that, it was going to cause him to explode like a nuclear bomb simply from seeing something like that. So I always kept it covered up with my other notebooks. Fourth grade, I realized different times when he exploded in the house on us, and these times I would look at that. I would look at my notebook that was covered up with other books and spiral notebooks, and I would think, "Don't you dare call that number." Mm-mm. Now, this is my experience, and I can assure you, this kept me alive. This was survival. Times were different. My father had extraordinary power and status out there as a master drill sergeant. TI is what they call him in the Air Force. But I knew exactly what would happen. If I called those folks, they would come out there and they would see my family situation. I'm fed, I'm clothed. Oh, no. No, 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 no. No, the accusation or the inclination. I would be in so much trouble if if he found out that came from me, which most likely he would have. If they had tried to remove me, I would have gone straight back, and he likely, very likely could. I mean, when I say total destruction, I don't even know. That would have been the end of, I don't know, because he had got me down on the ground before. It just kicked me and kicked me. So if I had done something like that, you just don't. Uh, he knew I was afraid of him, and he despised that. But I had good reason to be afraid of my father. He was torturing us, and he was scaring us, and he would bully anyone he could get away with and laugh about it and smile. Many times I caught him with just laughing and whistling immediately upon hurting one of us, me, an animal, or just a random stranger. And it's terrible. So that's the story of the sewing room, and I really feel bad for the people that live in that house now. I mean, I really should send him a letter of apology. But all right, so that's that story. Y'all pray for me. This is tough.